Today I'm with Jarusha Brown. She is from the South Okanagan in beautiful BC. And Jarusha is known for her commercial photography. You specialize in interiors, lifestyle, food, portraits, etc. You have well-known clients like DWELL Magazine, WestJet Magazine, Sage Wellness, I believe, and also Kelowna Tourism. So that's a pretty impressive portfolio, I guess that's what you call it. And I know that you're also the founding member of at the Luupe. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, the Luupe. Yeah.
And that is a global platform connecting women, non-binary photographers with brands. Super cool. I can't wait to hear more about that. But first, Jarusha is such a unique name. I love hearing about, how your parents named you and why. So what's your background? Where did that come from? And am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yes, you're pronouncing it correctly, at least in North America. It's originally, this is an old Hebrew name from the Old Testament, originally J-E-R, like Jerusalem. But my parents were not Jewish at all. My parents were hippies, and they very nearly named me after a cloud formation, so I feel like I got off easy.
So what's your origin story? How did you start riding? You ride street and you ride dirt? Tell me.
Yeah, it's all been relatively new. I grew up mountain biking, from a teenager, and did some racing, a little bit of racing. And I just there was about 20 years there where I was like, someday I think I want to get my motorcycle license. And I had friends that had bikes, and I just never did it. And I never felt like it was the right time. And then COVID hit, and I think all of us were kind of like, what are we going to do with the rest of our lives? And I was like, you know what? I don't want to put this off anymore. Yeah. And also, I think I was watching Itchy Boots with Nora Lee, and she's, doing this amazing around the world trip on her bike. And I was like, yeah, like these are the things I want to do. I want more adventure. And my partner at the time wasn't really into it. And I'd kind of been holding off, hoping that he would do it with me. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. He ended up doing it anyways. He changed his mind. But we took a course, got our licenses, and bought we have matching bikes. So KTM Adventure 390s. So that's my first bike, and it's actually still the only bike I have. And so we just started riding, living on the coast in Squamish at the time. So I was riding logging roads, and we did a bit of backcountry camping with them, which was really fun, and sort of testing the limits of what those bikes can do on single track, which, was pretty funny. There was a lot of dropping and stuff, but it's been one of those things that has brought so much joy and pride to my life in a good way. I'm definitely a bit of a perfectionist and don't let myself feel proud of myself that often. And so riding is definitely one of those things that just makes me feel good, about myself. And I love it. And so I did one ride with Alitas on the coast, which was really fun. Met some really badass women. But yeah, moving here, I haven't quite built out a network yet, but last fall I did a training camp and met a lot of really cool women that I've kept in touch with. And that's been really nice, just having that camaraderie and sense of community. And I feel like it's just sort of expanding exponentially. So I really want to ride with more women. I want to learn from them and just keep, exploring.
Awesome. Yeah, same thing. I started in the pandemic too and needed something to focus on. I think a lot of us did maybe, and I have no regrets because it has opened up a world that I never knew existed before, like the whole motorcycle community. So are you comfortable riding street as well? Are you more comfortable on dirt?
Maybe much like my bike, I'm a bit of both. I haven't ridden a street bike other than when you do your course or whatever, I was on a little bike. So I'm I've done some multi-day trips that are all on pavement on my KTM. And I love her. She's great. And then as far as the dirt portion too, so I have a friend who has a bunch of dirt bikes, lives close by, and he years ago was like, hey, do you want to go dirt biking? I'm like, sure. I don't know how it works though. And so he's like, I'll give you a 5-minute lesson in shifting. You'll figure it out. You're a mountain biker. And it did come really easily to me as far as the bike handling, just from so many years of mountain biking. Yeah, so I've gone probably half a dozen times with him on his various bikes and just sort of farted around. So that's why this most recent trip was kind of hilarious. I, got talked into doing a desert race on a dirt bike, which was outrageous.
Tell me about that. What is this desert race? What is that? Where is that? What happens?
So it's in Odessa, Washington. So like 3.5 hours south of me here. So I was like, well, that's convenient. It's not too far away. And one of the women I met at this training camp, she grew up riding dirt bikes, and she really wanted to do this race as a tribute to her father, who had passed when he was too young. And she's just like, I'm pretty sure we can do it. I've ridden with you before. Like, we'll just take it easy. And it's the Desert 100, 100 miles. And so we ended up doing 50 miles, or attempting to. But we had a lot of it. It was very technical. It was very hot. It was very dusty and loose. And she was on a bike that was like maybe not the best for the race. And so it was just like we had lots of like mechanical issues, and ended up limping the bikes to like the halfway point and then bailing out, but just being so freaking proud of ourselves and like working together as a team and, having fun and yeah, again, being proud of ourselves. Like, we're just so stoked with ourselves. So, and the desert is very much like it is here in the South Okanagan. So lots of dust and rock and sand and like sagebrush and that sort of thing, but it's a lot flatter there. And so there's markers, and yeah, it's pretty intense. And so we rode the couple days before to sort of get an idea of it, but the actual race itself was quite like it's endurance, it's all kinds of things. It was an experience for sure.
How many riders? Was it like tons of riders all go at once?
Yeah. So the craziest thing is I think there was about 2,000 riders that started for the 100 mile, and they line everybody up in the desert in a long line. You park the bike, prop it up with either, if you don't have a kickstand, they give you a stick, and then you back up maybe 50 feet or something. And when the gun goes off, you have to run to the bike, hop on it, and go. And it's like Mad Max. It's insane. And so I had thought, oh, we're doing the 50 mile. And, maybe a women's start, it'll just be like a little less chaotic, but there was like 1,100 people for our start too. And it was just like, it was insane. It was really exciting. It was fun and like crazy. And I was like, I can't believe we're doing this. Like, I wouldn't have done it on my own. Like, it was so great to have my friend Jolene there, as like, obviously we're working together as a team. So it was cool.
Stuck together and rode together kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Where's going to be your next big trip?
Well, I'm actually going to, with friends that I met from that training camp, I'm going to Moab at the end of the month to ride for a few days. So I'll be there for a week and do some hiking and just hanging out. But then I've rented a bike for a few days. So we're going to ride Moab, which should be really incredible.
What is Moab? I've never heard of that.
Moab's in Utah, and it's really popular. Again, like coming from a mountain biking background, a ton of my friends and family have gone mountain biking there, but you can also dirt bike there. And it's just sort of these like crazy sandstone, red hills and like arches, natural arches, and just like beautiful landscape that you can ride through. So I'm excited for that. And then at the end of October, I'm going to Tunisia for a 12-day trip.
Tell me about your photography career. How did you start that? Have you always been a photographer?
My dad was kind of like the hobby photographer, family photographer. And so that definitely influenced me. And I got, my first film camera in high school. And then in my early 20s, I did a 3-month trip to Patagonia, trekking and backpacking and that sort of thing. And kind of just like, classic, like trying to find yourself type thing and figure out what to do with yourself. And came back and still wasn't sure. Had a great time, but I had taken a ton of photos. And so that kind of blossomed into like, yeah, I think I'm going to pursue photography and I'll go to school for it. So I ended up moving to Calgary and did a degree program and started my business there officially in 2005. So it's been 21 years now of doing photography, and I still love it. Like there's lots of ups and downs, and the economy changes, and I've moved from Calgary to Vancouver to Squamish to South Okanagan, and you kind of have to rebuild each time. But the act of taking photos still really turns me on. I love it.
For sure. Is the South Okanagan, that's your home base where you grew up, or where did you grow up?
I grew up, my dad was a bush pilot, so we kind of moved all over Canada, but we moved to just north of here in Naramata when I was 13. And so my parents still live there, which is great. It's just under an hour away. So it's nostalgic being back here. I've been here now 3.5 years, and I just love it. So I still do go to Vancouver maybe once or twice a month and take care of clients there, the bigger clients, but then I can come back here and have a great network of super cool, creative women that I get to hang out with, and then I can hike and I can ride my bike and all that stuff.
And the scenery out there is incredible. You must have lots that you can photograph for sure.
And my latest obsession, there's wild horses around here too on the local Indian band land, and they just blow my mind. So that's a whole project that I'm starting on as well.
You're going to take your bike and like search for them in the mountains?
I feel like I would scare them off. Well, not that my bike is necessarily that loud, but maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Cool.
Okay, so, yeah, I can't imagine. I can't wait to see some of your pictures with that. But you spend your career helping people see things. And what does it feel like to be on a bike? Is it visual for you, or is it something completely different?
It's very sensory. And somebody else described this to me because I struggle to describe how great it feels to be on a bike. And, when I did the course back in 2020, the teacher was like, why are you getting your license? Explain to the group. And I was like, well, I just have this feeling that it's going to be like the ultimate freedom, and it's going to be something that I can do for me. And it's a solo pursuit, which I've always those sort of things have always sort of appealed to me. And then and it did not disappoint, but it was better than I ever imagined. And I think it's meditative, like you focus so much, everything else falls away, and you're focused on the sights and the smells. That's the other thing. When you're in a car, you don't smell everything. You don't feel the temperature changes when you go through a little gully or, cross a river or something like that. And that, I delight in that. You can hear the birds, you can, all of those things. It's a full sensory experience, and I find it very relaxing.
Yeah, that's the best explanation I've heard so far, because that is what I feel too when you're on a bike. And until you ride a bike, you really don't get it, because I never knew until I rode. Has riding changed anything about how you see your work or how you move through the world?
It definitely gives me confidence, and it's almost like I have this thing that's mine, all mine. That's kind of like this little treasure, and I've always been a very curious person. Photography's given me this passport to explore other people's lives and, careers, jobs, that sort of thing, and different places. And I feel like the motorcycle is kind of giving me the same sort of thing. I can explore with it. I don't know what I expected from the female bike community. I wasn't sure if it was, going to be that accepting. I wasn't sure. I'm kind of like on the shyer side. And like even just this past weekend, I stopped and talked to a woman who's probably in her mid 50s. We spoke for maybe 10 minutes, and she was from Oregon. She was so cool. She's like, oh yeah, me and my girlfriends, we do a ride up through South Okanagan end of July. And I'm like, well, let's keep in touch through Instagram. I'm like, maybe I can join you for part of the ride. She was just like so inclusive. And that's what I found with especially other women riders. And even like me, the men at this competition this weekend, everyone was really wonderful and welcoming and that sort of thing. But the women especially I'm drawn to, because it just feels so inclusive and like such a community. And I appreciate that so much.
Sure. I think there's something about women riders, and when you ride with just women, or that like-minded kind of mindset that you only have if you're a female and you're a female motorcycle rider. So that's pretty cool. It's unique. It's different.
It's so much fun. And actually one thing cool, a good friend of mine here in town, her daughter is 15 and decided to get her bike license. And I think a big part of that was because she's seen me ride, and she needs, cheap transportation for her job this summer. And my friend was like, can she come over and like look at your bike and talk bikes? I'm like, of course. Oh my God, that's so cool. Because I don't have anyone down here to ride with either. So she came over and like sat on the bike, and we chatted, and I gave her some gloves, and we just talked about stuff, and she's so excited. So she did her course, she got her license, and now my bike's in the shop right now, unfortunately, but once it's out, I was like, let's go for rides, like let's go for like coffee and like hang out, and I'll show you some of my favorite like rides around here, and just like have that camaraderie. She's so excited. So it makes me feel good to be kind of like helping pass on that joy and camaraderie that, other people have shown me. But
yeah, for sure. I love trying to poach new women to get into our sport and say, and you should be that inspiration to show other women that they can do it too. Cause I never thought I'd be able to ride a motorcycle either. So do you ride a different kind of bike? Would you try a new one, or what are you looking into if you could buy a second bike?
People did warn me that like once you get one bike, you're just gonna like instantly want to start collecting different bikes. And I get it. Like I don't have the money for it right now, but it would be nice to have something like very comfortable for like street riding and for longer trips. Cause I love a good road trip. Like even this weekend, I drove my car down to Washington. And you know, I made myself a playlist just for this trip. I just, you know, had the right snacks. Like I just love a good road trip. So something that's maybe like built more for pavement and for longer trips that's a little comfortable in the butt. And then a dirt bike would be really fun too, you know, like to have a dedicated dirt bike so that I don't have to borrow my friends all the time.
Do you listen to music when you ride?
I do. Yeah. I usually I have a playlist going, and I find that really motivating as well. Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some days where I like to not listen to music and just be meditative and focus on the road. But there's other days where it just lifts you up even more when you're on your bike and you feel even more badass. So I get it. Cool. Okay. So is there something you want, you want to say to women who haven't rode, but you want to encourage them to get out there and try something like that, a message for future riders?
I think that one of the biggest things and maybe because I had built it up for so many years in my mind, I thought it was going to be really difficult to learn. I thought it was this great big secret that, you know, you had to figure out. And when I did that course, I remember thinking, this actually isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. This is a lot easier than I had built it up in my mind. So yeah, I think if you have any sort of interest, just go with it and try it out, because it might change your life and you'll meet all of these amazing other cool people, especially women, and you'll be part of that club.
And now look at you, you're a world traveler going all around the world on tours and expeditions on your bike because of it. That's pretty cool.
I have a list now on my phone and in my head of you know, trips I want to do. I want to ride in Scotland. I want to ride here. I want to ride there. And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be never ending, I think. Yeah.
Any tips for anybody who wants to ever try a race like that, who's new?
Oh gosh. Well, so it was a 3-day event, and the Friday they did like a beginner women. It was all sorts of women. It was super cool. Everyone's high-fiving each other. And so they had a fun ride. And then on the Saturday they do a poker run. So it was like a family event. So there's like kids out there too. So it was like, the event itself was really fun. There was a beer garden. There was, you know, like all kinds of cool swag. I feel like all ages and abilities could have something to do that weekend. And then on the Sunday was the 2-mile and the 100-mile. I would say like have your bike dialed for yourself and know it really well. People are running out of water there. And because we kind of bailed out at the halfway point, I ended up handing out like, you know, extra water to guys. And there was another guy that had run out of mixed gas. So I had a Gatorade bottle of mixed gas. So I gave it to him, and I was like, yeah,
cool.
So it was absolute carnage out there. Like it really was kind of like this like Mad Max sort of situation, but it was very well organized and everybody was like super cool and helpful, and it was good vibes.
What an experience. I'm actually a health and wellness trainer now. I just joined GFit Health and Wellness. So my goal is to train women because it's online personal training. So I can train women in Germany, anywhere around the world. And we just do custom nutrition plans according to your goals. We help if you've never worked out before in a gym, I help you out with that. So it's, you know, gym is kind of intimidating for a lot of women too, but we have to lift weights. You know, I'm over 40 now and we lose 1% of muscle every year. And to lift your bike, you got to stay strong. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of pushing now, is the health and wellness for women motorcycle riders, so that you can ride longer and you can stay healthy and not get injured, and you can do super cool races like what you do. To lift your bike, it's not just technical, because you could hurt yourself especially if you got a heavy cruiser. I want to empower women to be able to lift their own bikes. So that's my thank you, Jarusha. I really hope we ride together, and you're welcome to come stay with me in Winnipeg anytime you're passing through. Best of luck for all your upcoming trips, and your photos are unreal, like super professional. Like, and if you know anybody else who you think should be interviewed or would be up for it, that'd be awesome. And I just like hearing real women's stories, and because we're all the same but different, and I get to meet women through like you and vice versa, which is really cool. But I hope we get to ride together one day for sure.